Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, and God, I cannot believe I'm doing another Snow White video, 2 in one day. But we have some news. I guess if you want to call it that. We've got some news, exclusive news from Deadline, talking about the political landscape and how it may have affected Snow White's performance, that maybe some of those chuds in those conservative states didn't support this movie like they ought, even though everybody is panning it. It's widely panned. International audiences are not going for it either, and it was just a very, very bad idea. But hey, let's blame the Deep South or whatever. Let's blame Texas, right? So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Geeky Sparkles sitting this video out. She's got better things to do than talk about Snow White. Hey, just as an aside, guys, you said you were looking for live streams. Did you know that I actually live stream over on the Clownfish Gaming channel? Yeah, I used to do it, and I just started doing it like 2 days ago. Again, we're going to reactivate Derezed, which is our gaming news stream. And now this is the game news we're putting on the gaming channel, for those of you who are wondering. And the regular podcast, the Derezed podcast, where we actually sit down and talk to people for an hour or two, those are going to be on Clownfish TV because it may or may not have anything to do with gaming. It depends on who we get. And also, they will be members first. So that's how we're going to do it. And Clownfish Minus backers will get those first because they're not time sensitive. Gaming news, if you're live streaming, it's kind of time sensitive. That is over on Clownfish Gaming. And also you can get audio versions of all of these podcasts as well. The Clownfish TV audio version feed on Spotify or Amazon or iTunes, wherever you listen to podcasts, right? So let's talk about this. It's coming from Deadline. Snow White, how controversial Disney princess fared in blue and red county cinemas. Box office. Exclusive. Heading into the weekend, Snow White was being called Snow Woke in vitriolic online circles. Well, it is. It's pushing socialism. It is, guys, it is. Which begs the question how the movie fared at the box office in the Trumpier areas of a country divided into blue and red states. Blue and red county cinemas. So it should be country cinemas? I don't know. Trumpier. Is that a word? The Rachel Zegler Gal Gadot live action take of the 1937 Disney anime classic bombed at the box office. They're saying it bombed. Deadline's saying it bombed. Forbes is saying it bombed. There is no good way to spin this. The movie is a bomb. Here's what we can tell you. Snow White, per Box Office Analytics Corp intelligence, minted 60% of her ticket sales and drew 56.5% of her total attendance in theaters in blue counties. More progressive people went to go see Snow White. Now, these figures come with an asterisk. Okay, it stands to reason that Snow White's business would be driven by blue counties simply because the majority of theaters in the U.S. reside in such zones at 53%. That is true. A major metropolitan area is going to have multiple multiplexes. They're going to have multiple theaters. Whereas if you're in the middle of nowhere and I don't know, Jerkwater, Oklahoma. No offense to those of you living in an actual town called Jerkwater. I'm just saying, if you live in the middle of nowhere, it could be a half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour between theaters. And they generate 66% of the overall movie ticket sales and 63% of cinema attendance. Consider that liberal-leaning areas like LA, New York, and Chicago are top-grossing box office markets. This could also explain why they try so hard to appeal to the left-leaning side of the country. At the same time, per intelligence, family and animated movies ticket sales come from 63% blue counties and 37% red counties, while their attendance stems from 60% blue counties and 40% red counties. I guess county was correct. That means that Snow White, with 40% ticket sales and 43% admissions from red county-based cinemas, over-indexed in such locations. Further supporting this, Snow White overperformed in Latino and Hispanic markets like Dallas, San Antonio, and Phoenix. Okay. But what does this have to do? It's still a bomb. It doesn't matter. That's an interesting stat concerning the uproar during early... Oh my God, they're doing this to own the chuds. That's an interesting stat considering the uproar during early production over Zegler's casting in the title role and her pushback against such trolls, writing, "Yes, I am Snow White. No, I'm not bleaching my skin for the role." The West Side Story actress also blasted the newly elected president after his win over Kamala Harris, writing, "F Donald Trump," and made Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace. That is why families didn't bring their kids to this movie. Right? That's a big part of it. I mean, it's not all of it. I mean, the movie looks like hot trash, right? My wife saw it. She said, it's okay, but that definitely affected the bottom line. That prompted a swift kick from Megyn Kelly and her pals on the Ruthless podcast. There's something wrong with this person. No, I agree. I think there's definitely something wrong with her. She's young and she doesn't understand that, like, you know, if you're the face of a movie, you need to kind of, especially a princess movie, you need to kind of behave yourself. I mean, I will give Halle Bailey all the credit in the world. I mean, she got shat on majorly and she still conducted herself like a Disney princess. And you could tell she actually loved the character of Ariel. And, you know, I can't fault her for that at all. I think she actually did very, very well. She wasn't out there attacking people or whatever. She just did her job, and people are going to say what they're going to say. And, you know, as we told you, 21% bought tickets to Snow White. God, this is ridiculous. Per Screen Engine ComScore's post track, because Zegler and Gadot versus the 34% who bought tickets to Wicked because it starred Grande and Cynthia Erivo. Despite Disney's attempt to put its best foot forward with diversity and the casting of Snow White, the movie's release comes at a time when many corporations, including Disney, are rolling back their DEI initiatives and policies out of fear of Trump. Are we blaming Trump for the failure of Snow White? Is that what we're doing? We're blaming the Trumpy part of the country. If only the Trumpier parts of the country turned out for Snow White. If only they were less racist. If only they were more open to Disney taking a beloved classic and changing like everything about it. We can't deny that Zegler and the Dwarves controversy didn't impact Snow White. Its ceiling at the box office can be attributed to the fact that there's a lack of demand for older Disney IP. We said this before. Snow White is not the go-to movie for most kids these days, right? I mean, it's not. It's damn near 90 years old. Not to mention there wasn't a crossover audience for the film. 28% of the audience was under 13 for Snow White compared to Barbie, which had 14% under 13. God. I can't. At the same time, with all this, box office sources, not just Disney, affirmed that Snow White played evenly across the country. But wait a second. Wait a damn second. You just got done saying that it played better in the blue areas than it did in the red areas, the Trumpier part of the country. Oh, A Princess Kiss isn't expected to revive Snow White at the box office. Parents and young girls could give her a little lift in a barren spring break marketplace. Sperry says, seriously, all this professional hate for the film. According to the numbers, Snow White hammered the weekend competition. Yeah, there wasn't any competition. Disney no longer whistles while they work, and it shows. That's true. There's a lack of demand for older Disney IP. I'd be willing to bet that a re-release of the original in theaters would do just as well, if not better than this release. I don't think the original Snow White, I don't think the original Snow White's going to make $43 million. If you re-released it when it's been out on VHS and DVD and on Disney Channel and Disney Plus for decades. Anonymous says, when you butcher a beloved classic animated film and you let your stars alienate half the country with insults, don't be shocked that families refuse to shell out hundreds of dollars to drag their kids to the cinema. Yeah, really, they need to invest in developing original live action franchises. Yeah, they do. They think the audience is dumb. They're behind the audience. You need to be ahead of the audience. Yeah. People, studios, publishers, game developers, they don't want to give people what they want anymore. Now, this reminds me of Twisters. Like, somehow Twisters became controversial because it was apolitical. And this is the same guy. This is the same guy who wrote this article, and we covered it, that he was basically mad that Twisters didn't become a mouthpiece for climate change because they're like, it was a, you know, they were all mad about this because it was just a middle of the road, non-offensive popcorn movie, which is what people want. They just want to turn their brain off, eat the popcorn, watch the Twisters. It did exactly what it said it was going to do. It was Twisters. It had Twisters in it, and the stuff got destroyed, and people went to go see it. Was it the best thing ever? No. Was it the worst thing ever? No. It was a movie with Twisters in it, and that's all people were asking for, right? But nobody from the cast, to the best of my knowledge, was out there telling Trump supporters to go F themselves. It had the guy that's playing Superman in it, and he's not out there telling people to go F themselves, as far as I know. Like that's kind of going forward. That is kind of how things are going to have to be, I think. Like, if you want that red and blue dollar, you're going to have to go right down the middle for a popcorn movie. Now, if you want to do an art house movie and you want to do a movie that reflects, personal political opinions or, religious opinions or whatever, then yeah, you have to realize that it's not going to be a movie for everybody. But if you're making a movie for general audiences, general audience popcorn entertainment, then you need, who the hell could have foreseen Snow White of all movies becoming political, and the actress of Snow White becoming political? Of all the movies, you know what I'm saying? Like, she gets it, like, she can get a pass. Did people have a problem with the casting? Yeah, they did, because they knew what was going to happen. If you have a problem with the casting of Snow White, you're a bigot, Nazi, homophobe, racist, misogynist, blah, 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 blah. But beyond that, she didn't do herself any favors whatsoever. Like I said, Halle Bailey, for all the shit people flung at her, she really did conduct herself very, very well. I'm sure she wanted to scream at people, but she acted like a Disney princess. And The Little Mermaid did okay. It still didn't make money. It still lost money, but it did better than I thought it was going to do. But again, it's a movie that came and went and everybody forgot about it. And it's the same thing's going to happen with this. But look, this is the bigger discussion. It's not even about Snow White. It's about, if you want to make money as a movie studio going forward, you are going to have to realize that not everybody who watches these movies votes like you do. And I think it's because we have most of these movies being produced in areas that are blue areas, heavily blue areas, heavily concentrated, the bluest of the blue. And they think everybody else thinks like them. And that's not the case. So they're making movies for one side of the aisle. And if you want everybody's money, Disney is learning this. They're learning. It's going to take a few years for them to course correct. But they're learning, like, yeah, if we want everybody's money, we have to just do general entertainment again. Huh. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? I think they knew it was dead on arrival, though. I really think Disney, you can't tell me. I know how they look at numbers. I know how they look at how things are trending. And you couldn't tell me that they didn't know. Somebody there didn't know that Snow White was going to be a disaster. But here we go again. This is the same thing. Like, oh, how dare the red state, the bigots who do not watch the movie. They only want the religious movies and the gun movies and the anything starring Kelsey Grammer or whatever. It's like, no, they just want to be entertained. We used to be able to entertain everybody, right? You shouldn't care if somebody's hat's red or their hair is blue. If their money's green, you should take it. So just give people a general entertainment. It's not hard. Why is it so hard? Why is it so hard for Hollywood to just do what they did for decades and basically stay out of politics? It used to be that the Jane Fondas were the outliers, the people that worked in Hollywood that had these political hot takes and the activism and stuff. They were Richard Gere, Jane Fonda. We used to make fun of people like them because, like, oh God, they're kooky hippies or whatever. And now that's the norm. Oh, look, Barbara Streisand's going to move out of the country again. Of course she is, right? And now it's all of them. Everybody in Hollywood is like that. And it's refreshing when you actually find normal people working in Hollywood. Like, even I thought Whoopi Goldberg was normal. Like, you go back and watch her HBO specials, and I actually went to a taping of The View at Disney World when I was on the Disney media list. This would have been like 2017. I think it was 2017. And it was in Animal Kingdom. And Whoopi Goldberg was, back then even, relatively normal. Like, she did a great job, because there would be, 10 minutes, for the commercial breaks, stuff like that. And she would work the crowd, and she was damn good at it. She was really good. She seemed very funny and very approachable. You can tell she had years of stand-up, and she was great. And she wasn't crazy, and they weren't really, they were kind of sort of talking politics, but not like they are now. And all these people have just been completely broken, and that's what's hurting your movies. Putting out shitty movies, of course, that's going to hurt the movie, but also the heavy politicized climate, heavily politicized climate that we're in right now. And you got to knock that shit off, or you're going to have Snow White after Snow White after Snow White, again and again and again, until you learn a lesson. And I think they are. It's just, again, it's going to take time. We'll see what happens. So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.